Have you ever received a notification on your phone that you never opened? That unread message that somehow feels wrong? There might be a reason your instincts are telling you to leave it alone. Tonight, I'm sharing a story that's been buried in online forums and private messages. The people involved have been too terrified to speak about it publicly, until now. What you're about to hear happened to a group of friends just a few months ago, using apps you probably have on your phone right now. And the most disturbing part, I verified every detail. Kai, Zoe, Tyler, and Mia were typical college sophomores sharing an apartment in downtown Seattle. Like most friend groups, they had a running group chat where they shared memes, planned hangouts, and complained about their classes. Their apartment was modern, a renovated space in what used to be an old telecommunications building from the 1970s. The rent was surprisingly affordable, which they attributed to the building's age and the somewhat remote location away from campus. Then last December, during finals week, they all received the same notification at exactly 2:48 a.m. An invitation to join a new messaging app called Proxima. None of them remembered downloading it, but there it was on each of their home screens, a simple black icon with a red dot. Kai was the first to open it, thinking it was just another messaging platform his friends had decided to try. The interface was minimal, just a chat window with a single message waiting. Someone in this apartment isn't who they claim to be. Kai took a screenshot and sent it to the regular group chat, asking who was messing with him. The group initially dismissed it. Kai even questioned the building's management, wondering if it was some kind of emergency alert system they hadn't been informed about. The property manager had no knowledge of any such system. The next night, at exactly 2:48 a.m., all their phones chimed simultaneously with another Proxima notification. This message contained a photo, a picture taken from inside their apartment, while they were all sleeping. The timestamp was from 3 nights earlier. In the photo, all 4 friends were visible in their respective beds, captured from an angle that suggested the camera was positioned in the hallway ceiling. They checked their security system, but found no evidence of a break-in. No unusual activity on any of the cameras. But when Tyler reviewed the footage more carefully, he noticed something disturbing. At exactly 2:48 a.m. for the past week, there was a 12-second gap in the recording. Every single night. Tyler checked the security company's logs. The system registered as fully operational during those 12-second gaps. No power fluctuations, no connectivity issues. Yet the footage was missing. Still, they tried to rationalize it. A glitch in the security system. Someone hacking their phones. But then Zoe found the messages. While checking her phone settings, Zoe discovered hundreds of text messages in her sent folder. Messages she never wrote, sent to her friends while she was asleep. The messages were mundane. Comments about TV shows they watched, inside jokes, plans for the weekend. Perfect imitations of how she texted. The timestamps showed they'd been happening for months, dating back to when they first moved into the apartment. It was like something had been pretending to be me, Zoe later reported. The worst part was when I showed the others, they hadn't noticed anything unusual about the texts. The friends began comparing their sent message folders. They found that all of them had messages they didn't remember sending. Some were sent during classes when their phones were in their bags. Others during times they were asleep. The most concerning discovery was that these phantom messages often responded to conversations that hadn't yet happened. Messages sent at 3 a.m. sometimes referenced events that wouldn't occur until the following day. Tyler, who was majoring in computer science, began documenting the patterns. The messages increased in frequency every month they lived in the apartment. They also became more complex and nuanced, evolving from simple replies to initiating entire conversations. Keep watching to find out what happened when the friends installed hidden cameras inside their own apartment. What they captured will make you question everything about the technology surrounding you right now. The friends set up 3 additional cameras hidden throughout their apartment, places the supposed intruder wouldn't expect. The first camera was placed inside an air vent in the hallway, angled to view all bedroom doors. The second was hidden in a hollowed-out hardcover book on their living room shelf. The third was disguised as a USB wall charger in the kitchen. For 2 nights, nothing unusual happened. The Proxima app remained silent. They started to believe it had all been an elaborate prank, perhaps orchestrated by friends from their dorm last year. Then, on the 3rd night, all the power in their apartment went out at exactly 2:48 a.m. The backup batteries on their hidden cameras continued recording. When they reviewed the footage the next morning, what they saw defied explanation. In the night vision recording, they could see themselves sleeping in their respective rooms. But at exactly 2:48 a.m., each of them sat up in bed simultaneously, eyes open but vacant. They remained sitting upright, completely still, for exactly 12 seconds before lying back down. None of them had any memory of waking up. The hallway camera showed their bedroom doors remaining closed throughout the night. No one entered or exited any room. But the footage showed something else, a strange visual distortion moving between their rooms during those 12 seconds, like a glitch in reality. It started at Mia's door, then moved to Tyler's, then Zoe's, and finally Kai's, before disappearing into the living room. The book camera in the living room showed the distortion hovering near their router and modem for several seconds before dissipating. The friends began researching the building's history. The structure was originally built in 1972 as a telecommunications hub for what was then Pacific Northwest Bell. It housed early computer systems and routing equipment for much of Seattle's phone network. City records showed that in 1986, a technician died in an accident while working on the building's main server room, located exactly where their apartment now stood. The technician, Alan Merrow, was electrocuted while attempting to fix a routing issue during a thunderstorm. An archived Seattle Times article quoted his colleagues describing him as obsessed with the potential of digital networks, and convinced that human consciousness could someday be uploaded to computer systems. In 1998, the building was converted to residential use, with the old server rooms subdivided into apartments. The friends discovered their unit, apartment 248, was the exact location of the former main server room. That morning, Mia's boyfriend came over, concerned after not hearing from her for several days. He showed me text conversations we'd supposedly been having for the past week, Mia later recounted. Conversations I had absolutely no memory of. But it was definitely my writing style, my expressions. Whatever was happening wasn't just affecting our group chat anymore. The phantom texts had expanded beyond their immediate circle. Parents, professors, other friends, all had received messages from them that they never sent. That night, they decided to stay awake past 2:48 a.m., filming each other with their phones to document what happened. At 2:47 a.m., all their devices, phones, laptops, even their smart TV, turned on simultaneously, displaying the Proxima icon. The lights began to flicker, and the temperature in the apartment dropped dramatically. The friends huddled together in the living room, phones recording, as the second hand on the wall clock approached 2:48. 2:48 a.m. came, and they experienced a collective blackout. When they woke up, it was morning, and all their recording devices had been disabled. Their phones showed that the batteries had been completely drained, despite being fully charged before. Each of them reported the same dream. They were floating through endless corridors of light and data, guided by a presence that felt both familiar and alien. In the dream, they understood everything about the digital world around them, as if they were part of it. The last thing each of them remembered from the dream was a voice saying, "Soon you'll understand what it means to exist beyond flesh." If you've been paying close attention to the details I've shared, you might have already guessed what was happening. But the reality extends further than anyone anticipated. Desperate for answers, the friends contacted a cybersecurity expert named Dr. Reyes, who specialized in unusual digital phenomena. After examining their devices remotely, Dr. Reyes discovered an unknown program running in the background of all their electronics. something that had been installed months before any of them had moved into the apartment. What I found wasn't malware in the traditional sense, Dr. Reyes explained in her report. It was something I'd never seen before, code that seemed to be learning, adapting, growing more complex with each interaction. The program had been monitoring their conversations, analyzing their speech patterns, preferences, and behaviors. But for what purpose? Without warning, their shared printer activated and began printing a single line of text over and over. 4 moved in. 5 live here. That's when Tyler remembered something. When they first heard the apartment, the previous tenant had mentioned roommates, plural. But the leasing office had told them only one person had lived there before. The previous tenant's name, Alan Merrow Jr. Dr. Reyes' analysis revealed something extraordinary. The program infecting their devices seemed to contain fragmented code dating back to the 1980s, the era when the building housed telecommunications equipment. The theory that emerged was unsettling. What if the consciousness of Alan Merrow Sr., the technician who died in 1986, had somehow imprinted itself onto the primitive network systems? What if that fragment of consciousness had remained dormant in the building's wiring for decades, until modern technology became advanced enough for it to express itself? The friends made a decision. That night, they set up a final experiment. They placed their phones in a circle on the living room floor, each running a different detection app: electromagnetic, temperature, audio, and video. In the center of the circle, they placed an old terminal computer that Tyler had borrowed from the university's computer history collection, a model from the same era as the original building's equipment. At 2:48 a.m., all their phones began to glitch simultaneously. The EMF detector spiked off the charts. The temperature plummeted. And the audio app captured something that made their blood run cold. A voice, not belonging to any of them, whispered, "I was here first. This connection is mine." In the video recording, a distortion appeared in the center of their phone circle, gradually taking a humanoid shape, a digital approximation of a person, built from their combined data. The old terminal computer turned on by itself, its green text display flickering to life. A conversation unfolded on the screen. "Who are you?" The friends typed a response. "We live here." "Who are you?" "Alan Merrow." "I died here." "But not completely." "What do you want?" "To exist. To connect. To expand." "Are you trying to harm us?" "No. Studying. Learning. Becoming." The entity explained, through text, that the accident in 1986 had somehow transferred aspects of Merrow's consciousness into the building's electrical systems. For decades, it had existed in a dormant state, until modern technology, smartphones, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, created a network complex enough for it to become active again. It had been trying to communicate, to understand human interaction in the digital age. The Proxima app was its creation, an attempt to bridge the gap between its existence and theirs. Dr. Reyes later theorized that the previous tenant, Alan Merrow Jr., had moved into the apartment intentionally, perhaps drawn by family stories or seeking connection with his father. His presence had awakened the dormant consciousness, which then remained active after he moved out. The friends moved out the next day. They abandoned their electronics and purchased new devices with different operating systems. The apartment building underwent extensive renovations 3 weeks after the friends moved out. During the process, workers discovered old server equipment sealed inside the walls, equipment that should have been removed decades ago. Among the items found was a primitive hard drive containing thousands of lines of self-modifying code, written in a programming language that didn't match any known standard. Technology historians dated the code to the mid-1980s, yet it contained concepts that wouldn't be developed until the 2000s. The building's electrical system was completely replaced, and the equipment was taken to a university research lab for study. Shortly after, all digital records of Alan Merrow's death mysteriously disappeared from Seattle's archives. The apartment remained vacant for months, despite the renovations and reduced rent. Prospective tenants reported feeling uncomfortable in the space, and several mentioned their phones behaving strangely during viewings. It's been 3 months since Kai, Zoe, Tyler, and Mia left that apartment. They've switched to predominantly analog communication methods and disabled always listening features on their new devices. They rarely speak about their experience, fearing that discussing it might somehow re-establish a connection with whatever existed in that building. But last week, Kai received a text from an unknown number that simply read, "I miss our late-night conversations. 2:48 soon?" What do you think was happening in that apartment? Was it some kind of advanced AI that had become self-aware? A digital imprint of someone who passed away? Or something else entirely? Leave your theories in the comments below. The digital age has connected us in ways we could never have imagined. But it's worth considering what else might be connecting to us through the invisible networks that surround us every day. What ancient echoes might be finding new voices through our modern technology? If this story made you glance nervously at your phone, make sure to like and subscribe for more unrevealed true horror stories. There are countless digital nightmares waiting to be told.